our laws as it pertains to substances are draconian and bizarre. Psychopaths start this way. He was an alcoholic because of social media and pornography, PTSD, love addiction, fentanyl and heroin. Ridiculous.
I'm a doctor, for sake. Where the hell do you think I learned that?
I'm just saying, you go to treatment before you kill people. I am a clinician. I observe things about these chemicals. Let's just deal with what's real. We used to get these calls on Loveline all the time. Educate adolescents and to prevent and to treat. You have trouble you can't stop and you want help stop it, I can help. I got a lot to say. I got a lot more to say.
Hey everybody, welcome to a special edition where one of the frustrations of doing the Ask Dr. Drew show is that I don't get to enough of your calls. The show's called Ask Dr. Drew, and I want you to be able to do that. So today we're tacking on some streaming where we just sit and answer questions. So we appreciate that. We appreciate you enjoying the show we just did with my daughter Paulina and Duncan Trussell. This whole week, the courtesy of Ask Dr. Drew is the SAND needle destruction device. Go to needledestructiondevice.com to get details or click the link at drdrew.com. Please do support the sponsors that allow us to do this. Also, Social CBD. For limited time, you can get 20% off at checkout by going to drdrew.com/social CBD. Use code Dr. Drew at checkout. And again, just a reminder, check out all the podcasts at drdrew.com. People seem to like the After Dark show. There are some crazy, I'll just give you a little glimpse of that. Some crazy T-shirts that you can get at Merch Method.
It's good advice.
Merch Method / Tom Segura. This is on Tom Segura, Christina P's platform that we do After Dark. It's a lot of fun there. And me and Adam every day. Check that out. And don't forget, we're doing a daily dose every day, usually midday, but we may move it towards more the evening hours.
We're going to do it at 5 o'clock this week.
5 tomorrow? Okay. And I have supposedly jury duty this week, so it's going to screw everything up. No
That's
doubt.
why we're going to do it at 5 o'clock if you get jury duty.
Right. And we're going to be, we're not on the road yet, are we? We're going to be right here, so we'll be doing it from here. Again, it's all at drdrew.com. You can get everything there. And don't forget drdrew.tv to sign up for the blast for this particular show. And the daily dose shows, I'm really just looking at the scrolls from the various platforms. Periscope, Facebook, Mixer, Twitch, all that stuff. You guys make comments there, and I can see them all. And one of the things somebody said, asking about how long food poisoning lasts, and they're going to see their doctor. Do not assume that vomiting or diarrhea is food poisoning. Do not ever make that assumption until a doctor has a chance to look at you. There's many other things that can cause that other than food poisoning, and it's important to get proper evaluation. You like the Daily Dose format? I appreciate that. One more thing.
So, do you see the guy who's been on the line for 2.5 hours?
Yes, I'm going to get to him. Let's.
Thank you, Brian, for listening.
There he is. All right, Brian, you are the one. You win the award for the most dedicated caller, and I apologize to you. I'm humbled. And Brian, what do you got?
Hi, Dr. Drew. First, I'd like to tell you that I am literally alive today because of you.
Thank you.
I suffer from very bad because of the stigma surrounding mental health. I was not getting the treatment, and listening to all your podcasts, your stuff with Adam, and hearing you, not a direct quote, but basically say, if you broke your leg, you'd go to a hospital.
Yeah.
So this is just another part of your body.
Absolutely.
That needs, medical intervention.
100%. I feel exactly that way, that the fact that we treat conditions in the skull differently than in the chest is just bizarre to me and terrible. So good for you.
But I'm calling because I've been in therapy about 9 months. I go weekly. Sometimes that's twice weekly, but mostly weekly. I started out at 10 milligrams, and I felt like it was working for a few months, and then I started getting a lot of feelings of despair, suicidal thoughts. Kind of felt like at that point it wasn't doing anything. When they upped the dose, again, I felt like it was working, but now I go through these periods of time, like maybe 2-3 days at a time, where I'll have feelings of despair, suicidal thoughts. Never anything to where I act on them, but
do you ever
just like a general?
Do you ever make a plan, or are they just sort of fleeting thoughts?
they're just kind of fleeting thoughts. They're thoughts like, if I didn't wake up tomorrow, I'd be fine with that. Stuff like that.
Got it. So that's called
general
passive.
not wanting to be around.
Right. Passive suicidality. Okay. That's called. That's called passive. Well, and you have a psychiatrist, correct? And you've told him or her about this?
Yeah. Basically, what I've been told is the medicine is doing what it's supposed to do, and that coming off of one medicine, going on another could cause more issues. And if it's
true,
not me coming up with a plan, it's not more serious than that, we should kind of steer the course. And I just want to make sure I'm really examining all my options.
Is that something that you discussed on the phone with the psychiatrist or in person?
In person.
Well, I would go back. I think a lot of this is psychiatrists sometimes give up on the idea of remission of depressive symptoms. And they do that because, when they get into a situation when they're using a reasonable dose of medication and there's been a reasonable response and you're sort of developing what's called tachyphylaxis, the medication isn't working as well over time, they're not expecting necessarily results with a change, but they can also add things. And it just seems to me a perfect situation to consider adding medication. And I'm not so sure changing would be that dangerous with you. Again, I'm not in that position, but they must have real concerns about changing you around in the outpatient setting. Have you talked to the therapist about this?
Yeah, I have. One thing, I'm pretty diligent on my medication, but one day I forgot to take it, and I didn't remember until about 36 hours later. Like, wow, I didn't take any of my pills.
Yeah.
Because I take medication for gout and stuff like that as well. Mm-hmm. And the next 2 days were just like hell. Like, I had to have friends around me at all times. A lot of despair, a lot of like, why am I here?
Yeah.
It cost me a marriage. I mean, it's kind of something where...
So I'm going to get back to the therapist.
I reserve...
What does the therapist say about all this?
Okay.
What does he or she say about this?
Well, they're trying to... They don't want to bring me off of it because I had that kind of reaction.
No, I understand.
They said, if you were to ever come off of it, it'd have to be very small dosages, and we're not sure it's worth the risk because of kind of the life changes that I've had recently with a divorce and stuff like that.
It sounds awful. What about going in the hospital and getting your medicines just radically adjusted, like try something different? Because this does not sound like an okay. You have to kind of be deliberate with them and say, this is not okay. This is not a way I can live. We have to make a change, and really push them, and even put it in writing to say that this is, these are unacceptable. I am having a severe recurrence. I am suicidal. You don't have to specify active or passive, and I'm begging you for more intensive intervention, whatever that means. And and back in the day, we just put someone in the hospital for a week and adjust their medicines. And I think they could still get away with that when you're suicidal.
Okay. Well, that's kind of my big question, because I'd like to, feel normal, feel happy. And I didn't know if this was something that could be treated to where I could look forward to that, as you said, like symptoms in remission.
Yeah.
So how much should I pursue this?
I think it is. I would encourage patients to pursue it to their own level of comfort. The dirty little secret is that there are a significant percentage, and I don't know the number anymore, it used to be like 40%, of people don't have a full remission. That is to say, either they have some lingering symptoms or some side effects they don't like or something. But I've always argued that keep fighting. Keep trying to find something that works. Keep the process going, because treatment usually really is very effective if it's done properly and thoroughly. So you should be your own advocate and get at them and be, you have to put the responsibility back on the caretakers too, unfortunately, to say, you're asking me to live in a way I can't function and my life is in danger. I can't live like that. And we have to do something. Okay?
I very much appreciate it so much. Thank you very much.
We're here every day, so let me know how it goes, all right?
Absolutely.
All right, man.
Thanks so much.
You bet. All right, Brian, thanks. Sorry for waiting for 2 hours. Here's another call that's been on for an hour. This is Michael. Michael, what's going on?
Hello.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, Dr. Drew?
Good.
Good to talk to you. So my original question was from your other show before this about psychedelics, but I pivoted, so now I have a better question. I think that's more important.
All right.
You could treat me like a nervous caller if that's better for you. And actually, when you said you have jury duty, what I heard a little bit was it sounds like you're having problems with your hearing, and a juror who can't hear all the testimony can't be on the jury.
Ooh.
So I'm guessing that might get you out of that.
I like that. Except
that's just what I'm hearing.
I think you heard right, but I'm afraid I've been in those. I get jury duty every year, and I've been to those boxes. And yes, and they will. It's unbelievable what I've seen in the boxes that they go, sit down, you're on the jury, I don't care. Yeah, it's
amazing. Well, I'm a criminal defense lawyer, so I pick juries, and I've seen all the excuses that I couldn't even come up with.
But some of them are. Listen, I've had people. I've been in the box. Somebody literally cannot speak a word of English. Sit down. We'll get you a translator.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to lose my business. Sit down. That's part of your civic duty.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you how
absolutely.
Let me tell you what happened to me once, Michael. Is I was in the box, and the judge goes, and it was extremely difficult. I had all kinds of patient responsibility. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get stuck in a jury. And the judge goes, oh, I'm your friend. If you need to go to the bathroom, you ask me. I want this to be a great experience for you. But he goes, but I need to know that if 10 of your peers or 11 of your peers, whatever I don't even know what the number of the jury is anymore. 11 of your peers have an opinion. Yeah, if 11 of your peers have an opinion and you're the one outstanding opinion that is different, I need to know that you will not be persuaded just because those 11 people feel differently. And I raised my hand. I said, there is no way I can say that. And he goes, what do you mean? Of course you could stand your own. I go, you know what? You're persuading me right now. You one person are proving my point that I can be persuaded.
Exactly.
So it's like that was the stupidest logic I ever heard. I did not get on that jury. I was kicked off right then.
Good. No, you know what? You're probably better off for it. It's a guessing game. I mean, it's like playing instant psychiatrist trying to figure out what these people are thinking and how to. Anyway, but my question actually kind of involves my job at doing criminal defense. I deal with a lot of people who run the gamut of mental health issues, drug addiction issues,
of course,
and just as far as clients, and just as far as being their advocate, being on their side, I'm the one who they turn to, and they deal with a lot, but then a lot gets kind of directed at me. I've had threats and close calls with people who are in manic states and all that stuff. I was curious if you worked at a psych hospital. What's a good? I mean, are there techniques that are able to be employed when someone is in a psychotic state? And for someone like me who's essentially a lay person, they didn't give us much training on dealing with people in mental health. And I was an EMT for a while, so I have a little bit. Yeah. But a lot of times I'm the only person there, or I don't know when backup's coming, or when the psych team's coming, or if they're even responding. What would be what's a good approach to?
Well, let me just tell you, Michael, that the first thing I was going to say was don't go it alone. That the
right, and that's the goal. Sometimes a lot of times they'll come out of nowhere without even no idea.
Yeah.
And then sometimes I will end up being the only one of the team who has an iota of medical training for being an EMT in the city, but and so everyone, even the sheriffs, will look to me because their only response is force, and that's all they can do. And the police go right into police mode. Yeah. So what's a good way to start the approach for that to get them to someone who can, and then get them to a point where they can.
It depends how psychotic they are, of course, and how agitated they are, that sort of thing. But ultimately, it's about not being threatening. It is about letting them hear, repeat back everything that they're saying. I'm angry. I hear that you're angry. Just be very, very trying to create a connection through the psychosis, which is troublesome. And if you go to force, you have to go to the force of God. You have to go full on, and that's often
I mean that's what they do, and I mean it does. I mean obviously it stops the immediate threat, and that but a lot of times what it is I'm the one that they have rapport with,
right?
And that's why they want to talk to me in crisis, and it puts me in this situation. Yeah. What about things like matching what they say? Is that something that?
Well, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. What you're saying? Okay. Yeah, is that said I'm angry. I hear that you're angry. It's matching, but it's also matching in such a way as it's acknowledging the feeling states that they're expressing. And you're right. Tell me again. And by the way, probing, like not probing the sense of evocative, but probing the sense of. Yeah, your kids. You're afraid of losing your kids. Tell me about that. That must be awful. And don't not evocative, but just get them kind of in rapport with you, in dialogue with you. Yeah, not. Oh my God, they're going to get your kids. Oh crap. No, just like, oh man, that must be tough. I hear what you're saying. And again, matching and mirroring and all that good stuff. But kind of in psychotic states, as you know, having seen them, sometimes all bets are off, right? And so usually what you like to. What you prefer is a show of force, not using force, just a unified front, and it helps them feel contained. They actually feel out of control, right? So you want like a horseshoe around that person of people who are all together, all saying the same thing, all calm, all there to help, and no threatening anything. Just, hey, we're all here, we got it, it's all good, and let them de-escalate themselves. Okay.
Okay, I mean, and these. I mean, do these if let's say someone's having a severe manic episode. I mean, that can, or even something dissociative. Something. I mean, there's no really way to predict. Is there a way to predict if it's going to calm down or when?
No.
Or is that just gonna get them to the professionals?
Yeah, get to a containment. I mean, when you read, and I'm sure you're aware, when you read about people killing their families and blowing up their houses, all that stuff, that's that state. That's usually what they're in when they do these crazy things.
That's, in fact, and I've had more problems. I mean, I've had more problems with people who have bipolar disorder in the mania stages than anything else in my whole career.
Well, they're the one they get violent, especially if you sprinkle in meth. If you've got meth on top of bipolar or something that looks manic with meth,
sure,
it's catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in Chicago, so there's not a real drug or gun problem here, so we're pretty safe on that one.
Well, good. I have good things. I think everything's great in Chicago.
But no, that makes a lot of sense, because it's just one of those things that we never learned in our formal training, and we don't have like a medical residency or internship where there's that, so we don't get that part.
And there's not enough social workers around to help you. And one of the things we find is if you put a social worker in with law enforcement, that tends to really help things, because everybody wants to do what's good for the person that's identified client or patient. And they just don't know how. I mean, people don't go into law enforcement to be mental health professionals, but they want to do what's right, and they'll happily learn it. They just aren't trained in it. So, all right, my friend, keep up the good work.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. I've been a long time listener, I appreciate the help.
Help me with the homeless thing, because a lot of these people you're dealing with, I'm sure, have difficulty housing themselves, and get them the mental health services
they do, but Chicago for some reason has a pretty good, I don't know all the details, but they have a pretty good track record of providing social services to homeless people, so it's not like LA.
There must be,
I don't know the difference.
The laws must be different.
Some social agencies.
The laws must be different.
Oh yeah.
Social agencies.
With
conservatorships and the ability to exert their care to require people to follow up. Law enforcement will get them and bring them, that kind of thing. You can't do any of that here. Can't do any of that.
Oh, so. That's not the way to go for sure at all.
All right, man.
All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Have a great night, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. You too. Appreciate that. Sorry that it took an hour to get here. All right, let me just go in terms of people that have been waiting the longest. Another Michael. Michael, what's up?
Hey, how are you, Dr. Drew?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Found you through your mom's house. Been listening to you ever since.
Appreciate that.
So I've got my main question will be about my sister, who's addicted to meth, who currently has moved back in with my parents, who themselves are having medical issues. I don't even know where to start. Let's see. So I know my sister. I can start with my sister's story. She got pregnant in college, and was almost a doctor. I think all she had to do was take like her MCAT or whatever, and could become a physician. But she chose to drop out and live with her baby's daddy, which after a year locked her out of her house, and that set her into a depression, and she was diagnosed with bipolar depression.
Okay.
Recently, she has got with a guy that's not good for her, and who's slowly got her addicted to, first it was Adderall, then it was pills, prescription pills, and then eventually became meth.
Okay.
My parents, within the past 2 years, have went through, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, and my dad had a botched enema.
A what?
So they're not really in any position to be taking care of them, and I just don't know how to deal with it. Like what steps I need to go through.
All right, here for yourself. For yourself. This is not a casual.
And for myself too, because
look, you don't know how to deal with it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You don't know how to deal with it. That is exactly the right way to frame this. You don't know how to deal with this, and you can't deal with it on your own. That's why you have to go to a program. Right. This is not a casual recommendation. I order you to go to a program called Al-Anon, get a sponsor, get people in your court that can teach you how to deal with an addicted family member. Every instinct you have will be wrong. That's the nature of the condition. It uses relationships unless you have somebody to pull you outside of it who's been through this themselves. And that's what Al-Anon is all about. You've got to do that. If you're going to be of any use to yourself or to her, you got to take care of yourself, just like they say, before when the oxygen masks fall down, you put the mask on yourself first before you put it on a child. This is that same principle. You've got to take care of yourself. And having people in your corner when dealing with an addict will help you not get sucked into the addictive process so much. Now, if she wants treatment, she should get it. It doesn't sound like she's interested in it. Where are you calling from?
No, See, my whole family lives in West Virginia. 4 years ago, I moved out to California to kind of try to extract myself out of the situation, and that because I'm from Kermit, West Virginia, it's close to where I'm from. The epicenter of the prescription drug and meth and stuff epidemic. I've seen all my friends, numerous people fall to that casualty,
Yeah.
So I chose to move away.
All right, I get it. I get it. But it's probably healthier that you're away. But it's what we call doing a geographic. You're still held emotionally back there with all that's going on, and now you have guilt on top of that. And I get it. So. Again, Al-Anon, and then the only thing you can do is get your sister to treatment. I don't know what kind of treatment is available in West Virginia or the regions where she is, but she can also just go to a Narcotics Anonymous meeting.
Most of the treatments there, they send you to Suboxone rehab clinic of some sort, and it never really does anything for them.
Right, and Suboxone for her might be a useful thing. It sounds like, judging by the way she's going.
It's not the area. If they can't find meth or if they can't find pills, they do Suboxone.
They abuse Suboxone, yeah.
I
know, I get it.
Abuse Suboxone.
I get it. Well,
and it was methadone before that, and they would abuse. I mean, there's even people that go to methadone and Suboxone clinics and sell the prescription to people in the area.
I know. So she still could be attempted to be detoxed with Suboxone and tapering doses, possible, but she's got to start doing something. And it doesn't sound like she's interested in doing anything, is she?
Not really. My main worry is for my parents. I feel like, because like you said, she don't want to do anything, so it's hard to help somebody that don't want help.
It's impossible. It's really impossible. Other than getting them arrested, you can do that. You can get them arrested, and sometimes that wakes them up.
And something really connected with me what your daughter was saying on the last episode. I'm from a really small town there. I mean, 44 kids was in the average graduating class. And my parents were both teachers. My dad was the assistant principal.
Right.
So that's another thing. And I know that's me not doing the right thing, but it feels like dropping a nuclear bomb
I know.
in their whole life.
I know.
You know?
It is. It's very painful. As many of my addict patients say, you know, we're loaded. We're not suffering so much when we may be eventually, but mostly we're just loaded. But our families and the people that love us suffer the whole way. We suffer, and sometimes they're right. So let's start with baby steps. Michael, first things first. First things first. Go.
Then I've got another question.
What's that?
So, I'm an insomniac. I've been one ever since I can remember. My house burned down when I was in first grade. Around 2:00 in the morning. And here recently with all the stress really flaring up. Sorry. Hold on.
Okay. All right, so here's the deal. So again, same recommendation: go to Al-Anon, get a sponsor, go regularly. You've got to do that. That's where this stress will get metabolized a little bit. Secondly, if you can find somebody that does EMDR for phobias and for very specific traumas, nocturnal traumas, patients that have family members that become violent in the middle of the night. Emergencies in the middle of the night like this can really cause intractable insomnias. You have to get the trauma treated, and things like EMDR, so find an EMDR therapist, focus on that particular event that could potentially really help your sleep. So between metabolizing your stress with your sister with Al-Anon and getting some EMDR therapy around the trauma of that fire, I think that's where you start. That's how you start.
Hey, Drew.
I see.
Can you tell us what EMDR is?
EMDR is an eye movement therapy. It's a little bit sort of like hypnosis. It's a way of getting at regions of the brain that are locked up in trauma, getting at them and regulating them. It's called EMDR. It's eye movement, desensitization, reprogramming therapy, something like that. Hey, Tom.
Yes. Hi. Good evening, Dr. Drew. How are you?
Good evening. What's happening?
Hey, I'm a multi-manager of a group home. And we've had a couple of issues in the past, not recently, but about a year or two ago, with needle stick problems.
Right.
I know this is off topic for what you're doing tonight, but I spoke to a couple of higher ups, and I showed them exactly what your needle destruction kit is, made of, and what it is, and whatnot. And their only issue is this going to be an insurance thing? Is this going to be covered through Medicaid? They're a non-for-profit group, and they're a very, very,
lean,
solid in the Central Florida, Southern Florida area.
I'm wondering if I can get you some devices, just to give it a try at least.
I'll write down his number.
Yeah, get an email, and I will get a guy in touch with you that might be able to help out, okay? Tom?
Okay, that'd be great.
All right.
Because they were curious about it. They're very interested in it. They think it would be great, and obviously it's 100% effective. So
right, give it a try, and then why not? So I'll see if I can get those for you. So
what happened to him?
I'm putting him on hold.
Oh.
Put him back on the queue.
Okay, I'm gonna have Lindsay get his email.
Get an email, and then we'll send you a guy that can maybe help out with this. Her name is Tom. He's at the very bottom there. Caller 44. Lots of interesting calls here, guy. Oh boy. Oh my goodness, these are difficult calls. All right, let's try to get a relationship thing in here. This is also Drew. Drew?
Yes, sir. Hey, Dr. Drew, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on there?
Well, okay, I'll try to make this as quick as possible. I just started a new job about 3.5 months ago at a very large retailer. And I had just gotten out of a relationship previous to starting that job. Well, my new boss came to me just a few weeks ago and said, hey, listen, I know you have a history with this young lady, but I'm close to her. I used to work with her. I think she'd be good for our team. Do you think you could work with her? Is that okay? And I was very honest, and I said, yes, not a problem. I'm older than this young lady, and maybe that has a little bit of something to do with it. But I've been through some things before, and I said, sure, I can work with her, no problem, not a problem. Well, she hires me. She and I both, when we were together, one of the problems that we had was we both like attention, and I don't crave it. I mean, I feel like I need it. I'm an outgoing person. I kind of feel empty without it. That's one of my problems.
I want to make sure I got this right. This is your ex-girlfriend?
Yes.
And it is your boss, her friend, who's hiring her here in this big retail center.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And we work
you
in
two
a
are
very
you're both extroverts, or you're both whatever you're calling that, attention seeking. And what's happening?
Yeah.
Exactly. Give me the specific case example. Give me a specific description of what happened.
I'm popular with
just give me
with which we work.
No. Just describe to me something that went bad.
She goes to my coworkers. I get a call from one of my coworkers and said, "Hey, you need to look out for this girl. We feel like she's out to get you." And I said, "Okay, what are you talking about?" Well, she told us about a specific date night that you all had, about one of the issues that you had with your ex-wife. I mean, started telling some very personal things that did not need to come to the workplace. And I don't know how to approach it because she is jealous of the attention that I get at work, especially with our customers and things. And so she's very challenged, and I don't know how to approach it because I don't think my boss knows about it, and they're very close. I don't think she knows about how she's talking to the folks that work on my level.
So this may have nothing to do with anything except leftover feelings about the relationship that broke up. The whole thing may be resentments and leftover whatever from your breakup. So forget the fact. Don't worry about the attention seeking and who's getting more accolades. This is about your previous relationship. Now, there's got to be some sort of human resource system at your facility, right?
Yes, they are very big about not going over your direct supervisor's head. And so that's one of my issues. I'm not sure how to. I've looked into the resources that we have that are, you can be confidential, but I live in a very small town and nothing's truly confidential, if that makes any sense. Everybody knows everybody. If I were to go to my boss's boss, go ahead.
Well, don't go to the boss's boss. Go to human resources. Don't tell them specifically what's going on, except that you have a problem with chain of command and you'd like to know how to manage it. In other words, there's an issue where there's some very confidential information that you'd rather not talk to your boss about that is being tossed about by somebody in a former relationship, and just get their input from the human resources about how to manage it. But they have a responsibility to help you deal with this. This is not an okay situation. And when things are confidential and specify in writing what is and what is not confidential, if they violate that confidentiality, you own a big retail store. So please don't worry about don't worry about it being maintained. It will be maintained. But there's not much else you can do, unfortunately, in these systems like this, other than to try to work with what is. And human resources is supposed to be that source. I understand. The problem is you need to remember that human resources priority is protecting the organization. That's what they fundamentally try to do, but they also have a responsibility to help you navigate the system and to protect you to some extent. So, oh my goodness, that's a rough one. Ms. Producer, how are we doing here?
35 minutes in.
Okay. How long are we gonna go for, you guys figure?
I don't know.
About 45 or so? I will try to get some more calls here.
They're great questions.
They are great questions. This is kind of a straightforward and simple one. Let's talk to Jessica. Hi, Jessica.
Dr. Drew, how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
So essentially, just low down is that I was on a pill for about 12 years, tricycline specifically. And me and my boyfriend are trying to get pregnant, and I came off in about November. And I'm just wondering how long it kind of takes for my shit to get back to normal.
Well, some people's shit get back to normal very, very quickly. But my understanding is the average is pretty much everybody is restored at by 6 months. Now, how long it takes to get pregnant is another separate question, right? Because we don't know whatever might be going on with the two of you. And are you having normal menstrual periods now?
Yeah, actually went back to normal surprisingly quickly. Like I was expecting to be off my cycle for a significant amount of time after that long on the pill, but it seemed to really go back to normal pretty quick.
Things do go back. So you were asking how long until I get pregnant? That's really what you're asking, right?
Yeah, kind of, I guess.
Yeah, that's a very different question. Certainly give it 6 months, and then if nothing, go talk to it, get it formally evaluated, see what's going on. They may tell you to try for a year before they do a lot of stuff.
Right.
But there's a lot of things that can go a little haywire, and there's a lot of stuff to be done about it. How old are you now?
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, you're 28.
I'm 28.
Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah.
You're good timing. You should have no trouble figuring this out, okay?
Definitely.
All right.
Awesome.
All right,
well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Good luck. And call me when you get pregnant. That'll be fun. This is Greg.
Let us know how that goes.
Let's see how that goes. She'll probably be pregnant next week. Greg, what's going on? Hey there.
Sorry to take you off speaker there. Dr. Drew, I just want to say thanks for not only helping me personally, like a year ago, you helped me get off Suboxone, but just all the people you help and all the time you give. I'll get to my question here. I currently tapering off of opiates for chronic neck injury.
Why? I thought you got off opiates.
I did.
What happened?
I actually got off the Suboxone. I was off it for about a month. And I've got like an hour and a half commute to work. Got sent home in a snowstorm, drove over like washboard roads and like re-injured my neck to where I was missing like 2 to 3 days.
Right. The one thing you cannot be treated with is an opiate because you're an opiate addict, and you know that.
Well, if it was always prescribed for pain from a car accident.
You cannot. You are an opiate addict, unfortunately, and so your pain has to be treated by different means. There's lots of things can be done, but Suboxone for pain, Suboxone actually may be the best medicine for you. That's certainly safer than MS Contin, which I guess you're taking now.
They just switched me over to Vicodin, but so they had me on 20 milligrams of Suboxone a day. And
Suboxone.
I had no emotions, no drive, no anything.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah. You should be down around below 8.
It's no way to live life.
I agree. I completely agree.
So I got off of it and got on the NSNG diet and was freaking loving it. But I have a job that I have a lot of responsibilities, and I couldn't miss that many days. And tried numerous other things, and then ended up back in the pain management clinic, and that worked enough to get me through to where I could get my job done and not fail there. But eventually that just sort of, with the dependence, got to a point where I said, okay, I want to get off, and I found a doctor who was willing to work with me.
Good.
And put me on a good taper schedule. About 3 months ago, he left without notice, and then a new doctor took over and didn't like that plan.
Okay, tapering generally doesn't work. Just generally. People can't make it.
Okay. Well, I talked to you about Suboxone. I was like, what dose do I have to go cold turkey
2 milligrams.
to get off of?
2 milligrams. If you
told me. I did that. I missed like 2.5 weeks of work. I was back, and I was loving life.
Yeah. We got to get you back to that. Well, the Vicodin will be easier than the Suboxone in terms of the duration. The duration of Vicodin withdrawal is only about 5 days. And how much are you taking now?
Right now, I am taking 10 milligrams a day, so 2 5 milligrams a day.
Yeah, that's not bad. And you maybe cut those in half, try that, and then go to 0, and you should be able to tolerate that, it seems to me. But the problem is you have to do something active, or you're never going to get through. You're going to keep going back. You have to do therapy or Narcotics Anonymous or something active, or you will keep going back every time. You'll be using your brain to make decisions about your relationship with substances, and every time you'll go back. But congratulations for getting down on the Vicodin and the MS Contin and getting to where you need to go. Again, you've done it before. you can do it again. I mean, to go from a half milligram, it's a half a 5 of Vicodin twice a day to 0. I mean, you should be able to do that next week. And you really, I don't think we'll have that much withdrawal. You won't like it, but it won't be as bad as the Suboxone can be sometimes. So good for you, man. Congratulations. But do something active. I can't say that strongly enough. All right. Oh, my goodness. Oh, this is a great question. David, go ahead.
Hey.
Hey there.
Sorry to take you.
I'm sorry to metaphorically circle jerk over talking to you, but I've just listened to you for 19 years, and this is the first time I've ever spoken to either of you, and I just want to say thank you for everything you've done.
Of course, my pleasure.
Anyway, so I have I was diagnosed with MED in 2014. My entire life, I have abstained from alcohol and drugs. I've never had a sip of anything. I've never smoked anything. I've never done any drugs. And it's to a point of where I actually adopted, I'm sure you've heard the straight edge lifestyle. I became very, very militant against it at points. I hate everything about alcohol and drugs. It's ruined relationships I've been in because I was not able to compromise with the people I was in that did. Anyway, long story short, so when I was diagnosed, I was put on pain pills, and obviously never having done them before, I didn't know much about them. I took them, and I've been on them for about 5 years now, and I know that I am absolutely dependent on them for a fact, without question.
So hold on. Hold.
Go ahead, sorry.
Let's talk about the epiphyseal dysplasia. Did you have genetic testing for that, or was it diagnosed on X-ray?
It was actual testing that I had done.
The genetic testing. So you have one of those characteristic genes.
Correct. Yeah. Okay. It was like 1 in 9 or 10,000 or something. I don't remember.
Right. It's a rare thing of the elongation of the bones, and it causes pain. Legitimately causes pain. So you had you had legitimate pain needs, and there's addiction in your family, right?
Yes. So I've never met my biological dad, but my mom and my grandpa they're the reason why I am the way I am. My mom is a horrible alcoholic. I've been raised by my grandmother, who is completely straight and narrow. She's a nurse.
And have you ever used a substance other than these opiates you're taking now?
Literally never once in my entire life, and I've never had the desire to because of my mom.
I get it. And how much are you taking now?
It depends. Like on a good day, bad day, usually anywhere from 2 to 4. I think 7.5 milligrams a day.
How many Norcos?
2 to 4.
2 to 4,
depending on how bad the pain is.
Okay. So, and you're asking is what's the difference between addiction and dependency, right?
I basically, am I an addict? I know I'm dependent on them because I go through withdrawals. I've stopped taking them. I've tried to stop them myself, and it works, but I can't function at work. And I eventually always just go back, but I don't know if that's my brain or the addiction.
Right. So it's a great question, and it's sometimes very, very difficult to tell. So anybody exposed to modest amounts of opiates over an extended period of time develops dependency. That is to say, they get tolerance, they need more to get the effect, they have withdrawal when they try to stop, and they can look like an addict. Sometimes some of the behaviors, if they're using large doses, can get pretty screwy. But addiction is really about progression and not being able to stop when you try to stop. And usually people that have addiction are not holding up at 2 Norco a day when they have real pain needs. They usually escalate over time, and the consequences escalate over time. So I'm going to say it sounds like you're more in the dependent category, and dependency can be kind of unpleasant, right? I mean, it does affect your ability to function, and sometimes it does affect your life. You do have withdrawal, but you also have legitimate pain demands, right? So it's about getting off for periods of time and finding alternative measures to deal with pain if you can, and then use the opiates as a backup so you don't develop the tolerance and the withdrawal if you can possibly avoid it. But I understand it's very concerning to you, and you have a lot of guilt and shame about it because you've seen, you're fearful that you're going to be just like your family of origin. I don't think that's what this is. Now, there may be a piece in here, though, David, that people develop as a result of childhood trauma, which is difficulty tolerating pain. And not just pain itself, but chronic pain and the misery associated with pain. That there's a part of the brain called the insular cortex that sort of registers the affect of pain, the meaning of pain, the misery of pain. And if you've had trauma, that region tends to go off quite powerfully, particularly in the setting of chronic pain. And that requires some kinds of specialized interventions to help you with. Does that make any sense?
Is there any kind of specific trauma that, because I've never been like
having an alcoholic parent. Having an alcoholic parent is traumatic enough, and so I just worry that that's a part of your syndrome. I'm not saying it is a part of your syndrome. I'm saying, you seem pretty good with your use of opiates, given your history and given the actual syndrome you're treating, and your concern about it. Well, I don't think it's addiction.
I've definitely had negative consequences, and I don't want to paint a picture as if I haven't. I've definitely had negative consequences from taking pain pills, and that's why I'm concerned.
What has that been?
Usually when I'll build up a tolerance after being on them for at least a year or so before I decide to stop taking them again, and I have to double my dosage. I got to start taking more. At times, I've had to take family members their prescriptions because I ran out too soon.
You stole.
But other than that, go ahead. Sorry.
You're getting there. You're getting close, but I don't know. Listen.
Yeah.
I think more structure for you, and you'll be better. I think some. Are you ever been in a pain management setting where people try all kinds of other techniques for managing pain?
I have, but it really seems like all they care about is giving me. They even try to give me oxy, whatever, but I refuse. I even hate taking what I'm taking now.
Have you ever had
I've been given gabapentin.
Gabapentin is good. Have you had biofeedback, neurobiofeedback? Have you tried these kinds of techniques?
No, I have not even ever heard of that, if I'm being honest.
Right. So you have to go in and say, I need some suggestions for managing pain other than opiates, and pharmacotherapy generally. You'd like other techniques, and they have all kinds of stuff. It depends where you are. Where do you live?
I stay between San Diego and sometimes I drive out to Pahrump in Nevada.
UC San Diego. Go to the University of California, San Diego Medical School and talk to the pain management people. I am certain they will have imaging techniques. They will have biofeedback techniques, but you have to insist on not. The opiates is this the easiest thing for them. They prescribe and off you go, and obviously you're very hypervigilant about that. You're very sensitive about that, and appropriately so. And there are other ways to help manage pain and other techniques out there. So, and by the way, many other things other than pure opiates like a Vicodin. But you're not doing that bad. Don't feel so guilty and don't feel so defeated. All right. As always, I have to leave calls unanswered, and I apologize for that. I will be in here tomorrow doing a daily dose, probably in about 5 in the evening, something like that. And we'll be looking at the scroll then on Pacific time. And I'll be looking at your scroll, which I am looking at right now. Let's see if I have anything interesting I can, before I head out of here. No. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you watching. Again, it's the Daily Dose tomorrow at 5 o'clock, and everything else is at drdrew.com. Sign up at drdrew.tv. Is there anything else I've forgotten, Ms. Producer?
And if you missed the Ask Dr. Drew with Paulina Pinsky and Duncan Trussell, David Navarro, and Dr. Vade, you have to definitely see that. It was the show right before this.
It was the schnizzle. It was good. It was a really good show.
Amazing. It's on Periscope, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. And then
is it up at drdrew.com?
This will all come on in podcast form. So if you want to share that with whoever listens to podcasts, they will come up. This week we're going to probably be posting the Scott Adams interview in podcast form. And then, is that next week? And then, we'll just go in order if you like podcasts better and you want to see all these.
And again, I just love giving back, answering questions, trying to help, and I'll be here tomorrow trying to do that. We'll try to do it every day on a daily dose. We appreciate you all very much for being here and calling. Thank you to the callers. Again, I have to reiterate, this is not a substitute for medical care. This is considered education. We are talking about these topics. We're educating about them. We are not treating. You don't get treatment over the radio or across the internet. You get education, and then hopefully you're motivated to go get appropriate treatment. And in no way does this substitute or in any way interfere with the recommendations of your medical caretakers. Please understand that. This is about learning about these things. This is about interacting about them. This is not about treating them. Again, next week we'll be here. You can sign up at drdrew.tv. You'll get a message when we are streaming again. And what's that?
Somebody wants you to talk about prostate cancer tomorrow.
All right, tomorrow we'll talk about prostate cancer. We'll get to that. See you tomorrow afternoon. Until then, thank you very much. See you then. The CBD industry is still pretty much the Wild West when it comes to claims and criticisms. The science is catching up with the industry. We will have clinical science soon enough, and there seems to be an overwhelmingly positive response these days to CBD's efficacy. We've all heard the reports, and luckily our good friends at Social CBD are raising the industry testing standards. They like to say they are test obsessed. Social CBD works closely with their suppliers and multiple third-party labs to ensure you are getting exactly the package that they say you are getting. High-quality CBD with 0.0 THC. And Social CBD wants you to be skeptical. That's why they put a QR and batch code on every package. This allows you to check all the test results for your product, not general testing, the product, the specific batch you bought. And while Social CBD broad-spectrum products are available in a range of formulations, each of which is clearly described so you can make an informed decision without all that hype and promises that sound too good to be true. To learn more, go to drdrew.com/socialcbd. That is my website, drdrew.com/SOCIALCBD. For a limited time, you can save 20% at checkout with the code Dr. Drew. Now let's get back to the show. Needles have increasingly become a part of everyday life. Proper disposal is both difficult and expensive. We have the solution. Simpler, safer, affordable, and fulfills the obligation to protect our environment. A single stick with something like this means tracking down the user. It means blood test for the person's stock. It means possibly medication for an extended period of time. Needle sticks are devastating. No more. Incinerate the needle. Needle goes in this port. It's over. Done. Needle gone. We all have loved ones who use needles. Keep their home safe. Medical offices are loaded with sharps. We are using ancient technology to protect our patients, our staff, ourselves. You know what needle sticks do. You know the cost and the devastation psychologically and physically, potentially, from a needle stick. Eliminate that completely. Stop using ancient technology. Sand MIDI. It will solve your problems. Find out more at needledestructiondevice.com.